before we get to it, if you got your favorite libation, I know right now you're in the vehicle, but I've got mine. Before we get into it, we're gonna have a
I
cocktail.
have mine too, Stan.
Oh, okay. I see you right there with the healthy juice. We're gonna get into it.
I got some Snapple fruit punch.
Snapple. All right. Well, here's to you, Coach. Thanks for coming on the show.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you. Here's to you as well. Yes, sir.
So I'm excited to have you because, to my understanding, this is kind of hard to nail you down right now. You're more, you're legend, but also you're a little bit of an enigma. There's a lot of people that know of you, but don't really know about you. So to our fans out there at home and to everybody that's not piped into the basketball network here in the South Suburban area and also Illinois, why don't you give a little bit of background about who you are as a coach and how you got into this profession?
Well, Stan, it's funny you'd ask me that. My dad started me out when I was in the third grade at all of Thornton's games.
Okay.
We moved up here from North Carolina when I was in the third grade. Oh. And my dad started us going to Thornton's games. And back then you had to get season passes. See, so we had season passes to all of Thornton's games, and we traveled all across the state watching Thornton play. And it was incredible because, it got into my spirit going to all the games and seeing the packed houses. And, Thornton back then, it had to be back in like 66 or something like that. They won the state in 66, as a matter of fact.
Oh, okay.
And, it just got all in my spirit. And I knew that's what I wanted to do, was have a career in basketball. And it's just ironic that when I got to high school age, they changed the boundary. And instead of me going to Thornton, they sent us to Thorn Ridge.
Okay.
And I grew up next door to the great Quinn Buckner.
Ah, okay.
And, he went to Thorn Ridge as well. And, we were all supposed to go to Thornton.
Okay.
And we used to talk about all the time that had we all went to Thornton, where we really belonged, Thornton would have probably won 4 or 5 state championships in a row, because at that time Lloyd Batts was doing his thing too at Thornton. So that's where that's how I started. And I went to Thorn Ridge. I was the captain of the team my senior year. And it's funny that my coaching travails have taken me. I started coaching at Thorn Ridge in, I think it was 79, 80, and I've gone full circle, and I'm back at home now.
Back at home. All right.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I'm glad you touched on something, because I think one of the things that a lot of people aren't aware of is the historical context of the 71-72 Thorn Ridge Falcons basketball team. Now, I know that you got some connection and some affiliation. Can you talk to our online community about what that team was like, and what was it like to be around that team and in the same school with them?
Let me tell you, Stan, I was on the sophomore team when they were seniors. And so we traveled with them.
Okay.
And I've done a lot with basketball in my career. I've had my own great teams. I've coached my own great players. But being around Thorn Ridge in 1972 was my greatest experience as a basketball player or as a coach. They were so good, and their aura was so big. Well, first of all, as a sophomore, I started on the sophomore team. We were conference champions that year. Every game that we played, we would come out on the floor in the crip line to start the game. For pregame warm-ups, it would be standing room only as sophomores.
Wow.
Hey, man, listen. I was scared as hell. You hear me? I mean, we come out in the crip line, because Quinn and them had won it in 71 as juniors. And
okay.
They were back to win it again in 72. So every place we went was sold out, home and away. So as a sophomore, I played in front of packed houses as a sophomore. And I mean, I tell you what, they were so good that after the first quarter, they would be up 34-2, 36-4. And Mr. Ferguson would just call off the press because he wasn't trying to embarrass anybody. And to show you how good they were, how potent they were, they scored 104 points, either 104 or 106 points in the state championship game against Quincy. It was crazy.
Man. So it was rocking and rolling good times back then, huh?
Stan, you know, high school basketball back then was entirely different than it is now. Every game was sold out, standing room only. I mean, you had to get there at the sophomore game to get a seat. And I don't know if it just mean at Thornridge, at Thornton, Bloom, HF, all around the south suburbs. All the games were packed. I mean, it was a cultural phenomenon.
Oh man, okay.
That's what it was. It really was how big time high school basketball was back then.
Well, you know, it's interesting because, you know, I've been blessed, you know, to still be able to play basketball. And I played pro fantasy camps around the country, and I've had a chance to have conversations with a lot of great coaches, a lot of great players.
You said you played pro basketball?
No, professional, these pro camps. They're called pro camps. So it's a lot of ex-college players, a lot of ex-athletes. We have entertainment celebrities, but we have coaches from all levels, like Brad Stevens, PJ Carlissimo, Mike Fratello. But nonetheless, whenever I had these conversations with coaches, and they say, "Oh, you know, where are you from?" I tell them from Chicago area. And I went to Thornridge. The first thing I did out of their mouths is, "Oh wow, Thornridge, 71-72, Quinn Buckner." Yeah. I don't care, you know, where I'm at in the country, you know, who I'm talking to. Older coaches, older players know that's the first thing that comes out of my mouth. So to your point, the validation of that, I mean, it's not just Illinois legendary status. You're talking about on a national level, the recognition of that Thornridge team.
Yes. You know, Quinn and I used to hang out some.
Okay.
Know? And he was boy wonder, Stan. That dude, man, I remember seeing Bobby Knight and Johnny Wooten coming over to his house, you know. And I mean, back then, to see guys of that magnitude coming over your next door neighbor's house.
Yeah.
I mean, it was overwhelming. Quinn was a coach on the floor. He was so mature for his age. You just didn't see guys like that around. And, you know, we would watch the Cubs, and then after the Cub game would be over, we'd go up to the courts. I'd get first pick, and I would always pick Quinn first on my team.
All right. And
the second pick, they'd choose Lloyd Batts. And, man, me and Quinn and the other three on our team, we'd run the floor the rest of the day.
Well, you know, it's funny that you mentioned that, because I was going to ask you, great segue to my next question. You know, we hear a lot about Quinn Buckner, but I'm sure he didn't do it by himself. Who were some other great players that were in the Thornridge team, but then also some other great players in the South Suburban area during that time frame?
Man, let me tell you something, man. Boyd Batts was a pro.
And this is Boyd.
Okay.
Boyd Batts.
Boyd, yes.
Boyd,
yes,
okay.
Yes. Boyd was a pro. He was Lloyd Batts' younger brother.
Okay.
Boyd was a pro, man. He was 6'8", 6'9". And he was doing things with the basketball back then that you see these big guys doing now. He could step out, hit the perimeter jump shot. He could put it on the floor and go around you. Greg Rose, man, was a blur.
I've heard that name before.
Oh, man. Greg was phenomenal. Tell you what, I played with Greg. See, Greg and Ernie Dunn were juniors when they won it.
Okay.
So I played on the varsity with those guys. Greg was so incredibly talented, man. He was the defensive guru on that team.
Okay.
He would straight lock you up. On the full court press, Greg played the point. He's 6'3", 6'4", long, had crazy athleticism, and I mean, he would just smother the basketball. And then Ernie Dunn was the perfect fill-in. He didn't have not much of an ego. Did all the little things for him to win. And Mike Bonzak was the coldest. He was the white kid that started. And Bonzak, man, he was so cold. Man, he had handles. You didn't see guys with handles like that back then. He had it on a string. He was a great assist man. And they had so much team chemistry. And it just made for a wonderful, wonderful team.
So, Coach, I got to ask you, you played a lot. It sounds like you played against a good competition back then.
Yeah.
All right. Here, straight no chaser. We keep it real.
Okay.
Who was the player that gave you that work? What player gave you work on the either on the playground or in the game? Who gave it to you? Who gave those buckets?
That's a good question. On the playground?
Yeah, let's go. Let's start with the playground, and then I'll ask you about the in the game. So on the playground, who's the player who gave you work on the playground?
Oh man, it wasn't many, Stan. Stan, I grew up real talk, Stan. I grew up in an era, Stan, where you had to play D.
Okay.
You didn't have a choice because there wasn't no AAU back then.
Okay.
And if you wanted to stay on the floor, you had to be able to play D. First of all, you wouldn't get picked if you couldn't play D. Everybody back then, Stan, played D and had a jump shot.
Okay.
You couldn't play D and you never sweet jumper, you weren't gonna be out there on the floor. Stan, I can honestly tell you on the courts in Phoenix, I don't really remember anybody giving me work. You know, okay. I didn't really guard Quinn because he was always on my team. Now, in high school when I played at Thornridge, I don't remember anybody giving me work.
Okay.
Now, when I got to college, kind of a different story. Now, two guys put me to sleep.
Okay.
Number one was Lamar Mondane from Northeastern Illinois University. Man, that dude, man, was a pro, man.
Say less.
Man, hey, man, let me tell you something. That week, Coach Buckhalter, I played for Chicago State.
Okay.
And we were playing Northeastern in the Crosstown Shootout. It was our first home game. Coach Buckhalter looked at me at the end of practice and said, Rocky, you're going to guard Money Mondane. I'm like, okay, bring it on, man. You know, I'm from Thornridge. I'll guard anybody. Mm-hmm. And all the guys was looking at me like, okay, Rock, we going to see. Hey, man. Hey, I had never seen anybody like this dude before, man. He was lightning quick. He could shoot. If you got up on him, I couldn't stop him from going around me.
Okay.
If I played back on him, he just pulled the jumper.
Okay.
He ended up he had 28. I had 2 that night.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And they beat us. Okay. The next guy that took me to school was Milton McGee from Wright State.
Okay.
I had the nerve to go out there, man, at the start of the game talking crazy to this dude, man. We got to the circle, man. I looked at him. I'm like, not tonight, man. Not tonight. This ain't going to be your night. And the dude just looked at me, Stan. He just looked at me, man, you know, and didn't say a word. And he had 28.
Oh.
And I think I had 6 points that game.
All right.
But I played against Maurice Cheeks at West Texas State.
Okay.
He had 14. I had 8.
All right.
Yeah, so it wasn't many guys, 2 guys that really embarrassed me.
You know what? It happens. Here's the thing: if you play ball long enough, it's gonna happen at some point.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, Bradford Smith, you know, gave Mike some work. So I mean, it happens, even to the best of them. So there's nothing to be ashamed about. And some of the names you mentioned, it's no shame.
Hey, Stan, in Chicago State, the schedule we played. I played against Larry Bird. We played Indiana State at Holman Center in Terry Hawk. We used to play Kentucky State. I played against Gerald Cunningham and Lewis Lindner from Kentucky State. I played against Purvis Short that played for Jackson State. Okay. You know, he led the NBA in scoring one year. You know, he was awesome. So I played against a whole lot of big-time players.
Well, and to that point, that's why I said there's no shame in it. You know, it happens. Yeah. You're going up against some names. You know, you sound like you're holding your own. So on the flip side, let me ask you, who did you get that business to on the playground?
A lot of guys.
Wait, hold on. Let's make sure we have the microphone. Name one name that you gave some business to on the playground. Look, I want to make sure we get that out there.
I used to kill a lot of guys on the playground, man. I can't really name one name. It was one guy named Smirch. God bless his soul. He passed away.
Okay.
Derek Jackson. Yeah, he was, big time guard that played for Thornridge in '76, and then he went to Nebraska and Omaha. But me and him kind of had a rivalry, you know, and I used to impose my will against him, because everybody, gave him so many props, and he was younger than me, and I didn't like that, But there was a lot of guys I gave work to.
Okay. Well, it's interesting because when we think when we think Rocky Hill, we think Coach Hill, and I think it's important for people to understand, that before there was Coach, there was also the Hooper, and the Hooper came first, then to Coach.
But you know what, Sid? I got to say this too in this forum here. I was not a great player. Okay. I want to say that I was a very good, fundamentally sound, hard-working, good attitude type player. I was good enough to get a scholarship to Chicago State, played, against some of the best in the country. Okay. I was able to use basketball and not let it use me.
Yep.
It got me my education. I got my degree from Chicago State, and it got me a really good job at education. So I was able to use it to make my life better. And I try to impart that to my players now, to use basketball to get where you want to go in life.
Absolutely. Well, I think it's a great segue because now I want to kind of switch gears a little bit. Let's start talking about the coaching aspect.
Okay. All right.
So so basketball is you're not playing basketball and you're thinking about getting the coaching. What coach did you pattern your coaching style after, whether it be on the court or just the way you carried yourself with players? Kind of what coach did you look up to as a mentor or as a model to help develop your coaching style?
That's an easy question, man. When I saw Bobby Knight come over Quinn Buckner's house, and then I saw Quinn playing for the Hoosiers.
Okay.
And I saw them dominating the way they did. I fell in love with Bobby Knight. And I tell you, I guess to give back to the school, he came to Thornridge to do a clinic.
Okay.
And in the clinic, they used us players to demonstrate. And he was demonstrating some drill, and he picked me out and said, "Hey, you come on out here." And he told me, he said, "You're going to be the captain of my haircut team." Well, see, back then, Stan, my dad kept my haircut really close to my head, and everybody was wearing the big afros back then, but I didn't have one. So he said that to me, and I was a big fan of Bobby Knight totally after that.
So you mean to tell me everybody else back then is rocking the fro, and you out there like Coach Chiefs from Cooley High, got the little short buzz and everything?
Man, my hair was so short, and I was so unlike everybody else that my dad kept my hair cut so short, Stan, it wouldn't even grow when I wanted to grow it long.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you just out there swish. Okay.
Yeah, I wasn't pretty, but I was effective.
Well, you know what? I think that's a great point for us to kind of take pause here and have a segue. Let me ask you this real quick before I segue into what I really want to talk, what I really want to share right now.
Okay.
What type of player do you look for when you're coaching, when you're selecting your teams, when you're putting a team together? What type of player do you look for?
Stan, that's a great question. Kind of hard to find those kind of kids now.
Okay.
Everything has changed, Stan. The landscape has changed.
Okay.
It's not like it used to be, man. I look for a kid that is coachable, that will allow you to coach him.
Okay.
And when I say that, coaching doesn't mean you pamper and cajole them. It means sometimes, you're going to be on their ass.
Yep.
See, snapping and hollering. And so I look for a kid that is strong enough that can take that and that will allow me to coach them. That wants to learn, that comes to practice every day and says, "Coach, what can I do today to get better?" A kid that plays exceptionally hard. That's a skill that I'm not really sure you can learn that. Either you got it in you or you don't. A kid that plays exceptionally hard all the time.
Yeah.
So yeah, there you got it right there.
Well, here
you know what? If they've got a small level of talent, I feel like, you know, with player development and coaching, they can get better. Yeah.
Well, you know what? I think that's a great answer, because here at Straight No Chaser, one of the things we also do is we also work through some of our basketball therapy. So Straight No Chaser, we're about to work through some basketball therapy with Coach Hill. So I've got to share this story. I don't know if Coach Hill is going to remember this, but I'm going to share this with our online community. Summer '87, I transferred in from Mendel, and I moved to Dalton. One of the first people I met when I moved to Dalton was Michael Clark. You went
to Thornridge?
Oh my God, Coach, you're killing me. You're killing me, Smalls. You just, now the story hurts even more. The dagger. So sit back and relax. I got you.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, you're killing me, Coach. Oh, the daggers. You just stuck the dagger in even more. So summer '87.
I'm sorry, Stan, I didn't know.
Oh my God, Coach, you're killing me, Smalls. So oh my God, you forgot all this. So '87, I transfer in. I meet Michael Clark and some other guys. They came to my house in Dalton. We playing ball, and Mike was, I think he just graduated. So he's telling me about, you know, the squad and everything. Get in contact with Coach Flaherty. Come into the summer camp. So you had summer camp with all the guys and all the prospects. So I can tell you who was in that summer camp. You had the sophomores and you had incoming freshmen. The sophomores, I transferred in, but the sophomores in that camp, me, Dave Parker, Mark Bannis, Marshawn Shepard, Kendall, Alvin Pickett, Big Mike Davis had just transferred in that year. He didn't play. A couple other guys. And then the freshmen, the incoming freshman, Danye Richter was in that camp. People don't remember Danye. He was in that summer camp as well. Troy Ivory, Pat Tran, Diallo Phillips. So I mean, we in there rocking and rolling. This is the first time I met you. I'm really
did I run the camp?
No, it was Coach Flaherty. So here, wait.
Okay.
Yeah, let me so jumping ahead. So we in there playing. Coach Flaherty's running the camp. All I see this guy come in. You know, I think you're the strength and conditioning coach. He got the tank top on, muscle swole, got the little Isaiah Thomas shorts on. You know, I'm not gonna dish you, Coach. I'm not gonna call him. Wait. I'm not gonna call him the Daisy Dukes, but we gonna call him the Rocky Duke. He had the Rocky Dukes on, you know, walking in the gym. So Coach Flaherty's pointing, and I see him. You and Coach Flaherty talking. You know, he's pointing at different guys. He points at me, and I'm thinking, okay. So I'm like, who is that? I'm thinking the strength and conditioning coach or something. They're like, oh no, that's Coach Hill, sophomore coach. So at the time, you were coaching for Prairie State Wilco. You were coaching the team with. That's why you weren't coaching the summer league or the summer camp. You had Wilco. You had Harry Bell, Arnell, Wright, Clyde Hopkins, Kendall, Phil. So you were coaching that Wilco team. So that's why you didn't coach in the summer. So fast forward, so I'm thinking, okay, you know, all right, I'm good, you know, and Flaherty loved me because all the things he mentioned, could play defense, could defend my position, coachable, worked hard, understood basketball nuances and things like that. So I played football initially. So I don't remember exactly what happened, but it was the, I don't know if our season had finished or if Coach Zakula came and pulled us out of practice. And it was
Zakula, wow.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So he pulls the guys out that are going out for the or that want to go out for the sophomore team. And it was me, Eric Evans, a couple other guys. I can't remember some of them, but I can't remember everybody. Donald May might have been there. So
Donald May.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Coach. Oh, Coach, you're killing me. Do you remember this? Oh, trust me. Look, it's been 30 years. It's been brewing and stewing like a crock pot. It's been brewing and stewing like a crock pot over here. So I'm thinking, okay, you know what? I've been in summer camp. I done held my own with all of them. Troy, Pat, Bannis, all of them. I'm thinking, I walk into practices. I'm thinking I have it sweet. I'm like, okay, you know, I'm here. I got it sweet. Man, I think first of all, they pulled us out of practice, so we weren't even ready. I wasn't even in the football mindset. It was just kind of one of those, hey, show me what you got. And I'll admit, I didn't have the best tryout. So I'll never forget. It was. If you've been in Thornridge, for the people at home, you've been at Thornridge. Thornridge has an upper balcony where they have a little space area in the gym. Yep. And they had a cheerleading team up there, and the girls going out for dance. And I did something, and I thought it was nice, and I'll never forget, he stopped it. And you came over, you said, son, is it your lady friend? Well, I'm sure she'd like to see you do something out here, son. Because anybody that knows Coach Hill, everybody's son. I think she'd like to see you do something while you're out here, son. I was like, man, I got so small. And you got that voice to carry, Coach. So I'm sitting like, oh, man. So,
oh, man.
Yeah, so, and then when I did make it, and again, I admit I didn't have the best day that day. You know, I just wasn't on my square. You know, and everybody's like, man, you didn't make it. So here's how young and petty I am as a sophomore. I'm like, I ain't gonna speak to Coach Hill for the rest of the year. Like I'm gonna hurt your feelings or something.
So what? I had your girlfriend watch you? Is that
no. The girls were up there trying out for pom pom dance, and I did a move. And I looked at her like, yeah, and then you stopped everything, and you came over there. What is he, son? Is your lady friend? And everybody, your voice carried.
I busted you out.
Oh man,
I dry snitched you. I dry snitched.
Oh man, right, you dry snitched me. Oh man, so I was like one of the last ones cut. So I was like, man, all year I'm like, I ain't talking to Coach Hill. I ain't talking to Coach Hill. Like you really cared. I think y'all went like 27-1. But yeah,
I cut you.
Yeah, and people were like, man, people were like, man, Marshawn made it over me, Kendall Jackson made it over me. Who else? Gosh, who was?
Oh wow, man, I apologize, man.
You know, a lot of guys is like, man, Coach Hill cut you. I'm like, yeah, and it's funny because actually, but to that point though, it made me a better ball player because it made me hungrier once I got over the sting of being cut, and also I wasn't as skilled as some of the other guys. You know, I always tell people there's a difference between a basketball player and a hooper. There were some hoopers on that squad, but I thought I was just as good as some of the basketball players. But long story short, you know, I was a late bloomer, and as I got better as I got older. And actually, when I left Thorn Ridge, I really excelled and accelerated.
Oh wow!
Yeah. So, but anytime I saw somebody in that District 205, you know, in their portfolio, because I ended up playing JUCO ball, walking on and beating guys out, and starting at JUCO. I had a chance to walk on the ISU before I got hurt. So anytime I saw it, which is funny because I was at ISU and I was on the preferred walk-on list with Coach Bob Bender. Bender was there, and then I got hurt that year, his last year, and they brought in Kevin Stallings, and that's when they brought in Antonio Cooper. I was like, oh, there goes my spot again.
Hey, Cooper was something, man. I coached him at Thorn Ridge.
Yeah.
Man, you know what? First of all, I want to say, look, I'm sorry I cut you, man. You know, I mean, you know, seriously. You know what, Stan? I'm gonna tell you something. That's one of the things in coaching that I hate, because you have to make cuts.
Yeah.
And I look at myself, had Dave Lazoe or Ron Bonfiglio cut me at Thorn Ridge in 1971, I don't know what would have happened to me in my life.
Yeah.
And I got cut. Yeah. And I look at a lot of guys, the guys that try out every year. I look at those guys, they come in there, and everybody wants to make the basketball team. Everybody. Yeah. And, you know, you look at young men that have this dream to be a basketball player, and you have to, you know, you can only keep 12, 13, 14, 15 players.
Yeah. So
there are a lot of dreams that are squashed. So, you know, I want to use this forum to apologize to you, man.
Well, you know, and here's the thing. After all the years, you know, we've worked through some therapeutic sessions here. I've had Frank McDaniel work through some things here, and some other players. As I'm looking as we're going live, I'm going to tell you right now, we've got some comments. Dwayne Perry, you cut him as well. He was a good player. He actually played for the military. Francois Wright, you cut him. And actually, that's what I first was introduced to you. He was trying out for the Wilco team, Prairie State team, but that team was that team was stacked. But yeah, you cut Francois off that team. So
Frank who?
Arnell, Francois, Big Frenchie, Arnell Wright. Back then he had the high top of the ducktail. Francois, you know him. But there's a lot of guys. There's a lot of guys. You know, here's the thing. I think there's more guys that have gotten the axe by Coach Hill and gone on to be better because of that than guys that stayed and were able to succeed. But also to your point, I think it drove a lot of ball players too. You know, because I think it takes a certain type of ball player to be able to play for you. But then also, you know, utilize if you did not make it, using that as fuel to excel at the next level. I know Dwayne Perry went on to play in the military at a high level. Francois, he went and played, Arnell Wright, he's on as Francois Wright, but he went on to play at a couple different colleges and play with some elite guys. So it's not, there's no shame in being cut by Coach Hill. It's different if I'm being cut by a bust or a scrub. But if Coach Hill is saying, hey, you know what? It's not what I'm looking for. This is, you don't necessarily meet that criteria. Not that you're not a good ball player. It's just that right now, for what I'm looking for, it's not the ideal fit. So it's all good, Coach. I just wanted to make sure I worked it out.
Okay, buddy.
Me and Coach Hill are good now. Oh, man. So, Coach, and I'm looking at the Facebook Live comments, and there's a lot of people that are chiming in. So, like I said, this has been one of the most anticipated interviews. I'm going to have a special guest join us. Do you mind?
Yeah, I don't mind.
I'm going to have a special guest join us.
Okay.
There he is, the man, the myth, and the legend, Kenny Millender.
Oh, wow. Man.
Big Kid, what's going on, my brother?
What's happening, Coach?
What up, Big Kid? What's going on, big fella?
I was just getting in from a workout, man. I had to come in for a minute and say hello to you, man.
Hey, Stan, that big boy right there, I wish I could have coached Kenny Millender on the varsity level.
Okay.
Look, Kenny was a great number 5 big man. I mean, he was a horse around the basket. And, he was the best big man in the conference on the sophomore level when he played for me. And one of my regrets is I never got a chance to coach him on the varsity.
Hey, Stan, I should have transferred when Coach Hill didn't get the job after my sophomore year. I should have went and played at Thornton.
Really?
Me and Flaherty never got along.
It's funny. I've heard it's polarizing. I got along with Coach Flaherty fine, but yeah, it was interesting.
I could never understand that. I didn't understand the dynamics behind that. Mike never said anything disparaging about Kenny. I think he wanted him to work a little bit harder.
Okay.
But I'm surprised because Kenny is one of those players, like I told you, that I look for with a great attitude.
Yeah.
I used to be on him like crazy, man. He didn't say a word. Didn't say a word, man. Just go out and work his butt off. Didn't say a word. It's like it made him better.
Yeah.
Hey, Stan, Coach, back then, I'm talking about 84, Coach was a madman. Hey.
Yep. Edgar Anderson used to tell me my hair used to be on fire.
Hey, man. All right. If anybody went to Thornridge, they know you got the F1 and F2 gyms, right?
Right.
That's what we practice.
Yeah.
It's been times we would come in on a Monday off of a bad game, and I may be like, I had 20 and 10. I'm good.
Right.
Hey, as soon as we hit the door, if you ain't see no balls, you like,
gotta run. Yeah.
Practice was 2 hours. One day after school, Coach Hill got a chair and a newspaper. We ran for an hour and a half.
Let me tell you something. That chair and that newspaper is legendary. Real talk. Everybody talks about that.
With his legs crossed.
Yeah.
Three things that Coach Hill is known for. And we're talking about one, that chair and the newspaper. The other two is that curl. And the third thing is we're going to talk about that legendary purple suit before we get off this call. The legendary purple suit, baby.
You know what, fellas? I'm going to tell you something. You can't coach these kids nowadays like we could coach Kenny and them back in them days. See, if I come to practice now and pull a chair out and have a newspaper and start running, man, they'll quit the team. They'll stop. They'll quit. They won't be able to take it.
Hey.
Or they really want to transfer.
We used to have preview night where your parents would come in before the season started. You get a little scrimmage in, you let your parents see you hoop, get some work in. Your parents won't see you. We ran on our preview night.
So how conditioned you were. Okay.
We ran on Hey, me and my boy Big Dolph, we was like, I said, man, I'm quitting. That's it. I can't do it. I'm quitting. And my parents was like, no, you don't quit.
Man.
So, hey,
man,
Coach
I ran y'all on preview night.
Yeah, you ran us on preview night, Coach. Hey, Dolph and everybody remember you ran us on preview night. Papa, everybody was like, this is insane.
Welcome to Straight No Chasers therapy session.
Hey, Stan, I'm gonna tell you like this. If Coach Hill would have got the varsity job when I left sophomores to go to varsity, I'd have probably been All-American.
I believe that. That's real. I believe that. That's real.
So
that's
to your
real.
point, so to your point, I'm looking at some of the comments as we're going live. I'm hearing best coach you ever played for by Frank McDaniel. Guys are commending your coaching style. You know, saying really today's players are soft. I know we've had a slew of players: Dwayne Perry, Francois Wright. Other guys saying they wish they had a chance to play for you. Here's a great question, Coach. Let me ask you: have you ever cut a player outside of me that you wish you would have had the opportunity, or that you wish you wouldn't have cut? When you look back on it and say, man, why did I cut him? Or, you know, I shouldn't have cut that player. Have you ever?
Yeah. Darren Robinson.
Okay.
He ended up being my boss.
Oh, okay.
You know, it's a funny story because Darren Robinson, he actually made the team, but I dismissed him off the team because, at times Darren he'd be saying stuff to people and I'd ask him to stop and he wouldn't stop and this, that, and other. And I probably acted too quick and I put him off the team.
Okay.
Shouldn't have done that. But anyway, years later, Stan and Kenny, years later, Darren Robinson, who was the board president of District 205.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Darren Robinson is the one that made me the head boys basketball coach at Thornridge. He signed off on me getting the head.
Gotcha.
See, so he could have been petty and remembered all that stuff, but when you ask me, was there one that I regret? That's one that comes to mind.
Okay, gotcha. So let me ask you, kind of going back into the coaching aspect. Now that we've all purged.
I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. Yeah, go ahead, buddy.
Okay, so now that we've all purged our souls and we kind of had this cleanse, and that's what Straight No Chase is. We talk sports, but sometimes we need to purge our souls and get some of this basketball therapy going.
Yeah.
Too. You know, it's like therapeutic couch. Let me ask you, Coach. Kind of going back to the coaching aspect, who was your toughest coaching opponent? I think I've got it. I think I have an idea, but who would you say was your most difficult coach to coach against? Maybe a coach.
Well, of course, everybody knows that. You know, Wayne McClain put me to sleep 3 times in a row, but it's not Wayne McClain.
Really? Okay.
No, it's not Wayne McClain. God bless his soul. It's Julius Baldridge from Bloom Trail.
Really?
That dude, man, I couldn't beat Baldridge for nothing in the world, man. He was putting me to sleep before Wayne McClain put my ass to sleep.
Really? So what was it about that was tough for you to match up against?
Baldridge should have been a varsity coach like I became one.
Yep.
Because he was one of the best coaches out here in the suburbs. Stan, the sophomore games back in those days were almost as big as the varsity games. Okay. The crowd was big. The talent was, you look at sophomore kids, if you get to the sophomore game now, number one, there's nobody at the game.
Yeah.
And the kids look small and they don't look mature and developed. Well, the sophomore teams back in those days when Kenny was owning the floor and playing and everything, those guys, I had sophomore teams that could play with varsity teams.
Mm-hmm.
Kenny's team.
Hey, Stan.
Let me tell you something. Kenny's team.
We beat the varsity one year. Yeah.
Hey,
tell them, Coach, we beat them 1 year.
Yeah, hell yeah. Let me tell you something. You know, with Kenny's team, one of our better players, big Reggie Johnson broke his wrist. Remember that, Kenny?
Yeah.
If Reggie hadn't broke his wrist, we done won the conference championship that year.
Mm.
That hurt us. Do you remember Reggie, Stan?
Reggie, which one? Reggie Ward?
No,
Reggie
Johnson. He played with me.
No, you know, I came in '87.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ken, what year were you a sophomore, Ken?
Well, that was me and Reggie, and Big Dolph was sophomores. That was 84.
84, okay. I've been wondering that, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, me, Big Dolph, Reggie, Maurice Rayford, Papa.
Man, Maurice Rayford went to Rich Central and turned it out over there.
Yeah, Daryl Graves, Darius Chappelle. Hey, like you said, we were so tough, Stan. It's been a couple of times we scrimmaged Sullivan's varsity team that year and we beat them.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And see, that's the essence of basketball, though. You know, you got guys that play hard, play well, but are well coached. You know, and I think those elements combined is what's missing a lot in today's game. You know, I had one guy somebody actually asked on live, and that is your thoughts on AAU basketball. Coach, what are your thoughts on AAU basketball? And then Ken, I want to come from a player standpoint, but Coach,
this might get me in trouble. I don't know if I can. Let me just say this. Let me start by saying this.
Okay.
With those Thornton teams that I had, those great Thornton teams from '94 and '95 and '96, '97. My program was the model for AAU coming on the scene back in those days.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a guy that I think the world of now, Larry Butler.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
LB.
And Ron Newquist from Bloom's head coach.
Yeah, Ron.
Yeah. Well, they had AAU teams, and for some reason, I thought I wanted to have my hands on my kids that summer, but they wanted to play AAU. Okay. And that caused problems, Stan, because I was young and I was selfish, and I kind of went to war with them guys. That was a mistake. In fact, my principal called me in and told me to stop it because it got all in the Sun Times, man. You know, Taylor Bell was writing about, my animosity towards Larry Butler and Newquist and all them guys. And my principal called me in and told me, stop it. Don't want to see it no more. Okay. I think I better stop right there.
Okay.
Because I can't be selfish, because AAU does afford players another avenue to help them get a scholarship.
Okay.
And actually more so now than the school, the boys head coach. See, a lot of times the recruiters will contact the AAU coach before they'll contact me. Okay. Yeah. So you got to kind of be selfless in that, because AAU is here to stay.
So let me ask you, Ken, and I think that's a great point. Ken, from a player's perspective, I know you participated in some very high-level camps, when you were in high school. If you were a high-level player, would you really want to spend more time working with your coach, or would you really want to spend more time with your AAU team from a player's perspective?
It's a different mindset then. Like I said, Stan, my junior year in between my senior year, like I said, I went to the BC All-Stars camp up in Rensselaer. And it's a funny story. Coach came to get me for the Bradley camp. There was a team camp. That's went to team camps then. But I was this is how strict my dad was, though. I was just getting back from the BC camp. And he was like, no, we going out of town. He can't go.
Okay.
And so I didn't get to go. But then we played in a team camp and we played in the TCC Summer League with your team.
Yep.
It made us tighter. It made you, I think the AAU kind of makes you standoffish with your teammates a little bit. Everything we did back then in the summertime, whether it was from parks loading up in the car with the 5, whatever, we did it together. A lot of times, and it showed in practice, a lot of times I was considered Stan to be a mean guy. but my guys could get on me. Big Dolph, my boy Big Dolph, Big Reggie, if I was out of line, they'd be like, come on, Big Ken, man. No. When it was me and Flaherty, coach would tell you in practice, I'll walk out. Be like, forget it. You know, and coach would say,
how come you never liked him? What was it, man? Because Flaherty was a great coach.
I thought it was good. All right, Ken. Wait, I'm gonna give you the mic. Go ahead. The confession. I'm giving you the mic, Ken. Get it out. We do therapy on Straight No Chaser.
All right. Yeah. I felt I was better than what Flaherty was giving me credit for.
Okay.
So and I started to get a little better. And
you were.
But coach, for you, I had so much respect, I would run through a brick wall for Coach Hill. Yeah. Flaherty, me and him got off on the wrong foot, and I never really gave, like, I would go out some night, stand on a Friday, and have 20. And me and Flaherty would get into it on a Monday, and I might not play on Tuesday night.
Oh, wow.
You know, it was like,
why,
so
Ken?
we just didn't gel. I mean, you know what? I probably had mentally checked out, and I was at Thornton. I was gone. I was just like,
wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And and I had started staying to after Coach Hill, after my senior, I had started to float. And I would raise up from the elbow or from the corner. And Flaherty would yell, no. And I'd be knocking him down. And he would be like, that's not what I call. There was a lot of times he'll call a play, and I'll run something totally different. And Coach, he would take me out. He would take me out. Coach Hill would come to the end of the bench. I'd be kicking stuff over, and he'd sit there. He's like, son,
right.
Come on now. Hey, Coach Hill called me Big Horse. Come on, Big Horse, man. We need you, man. Don't check out on us like this. You know.
Hey, Kenny, who was the assistant? Was it Jasper?
Jasper.
Yeah, and I hate him to this day too.
I was gonna say not a lot of people. Jasper, yeah.
And I saw him at a Bloom. I saw him at a Bloom Thornton game, and I wouldn't even shake his hand.
Wow.
He walked by and looked at him like he still owed him some money, huh?
Yeah. So that's what it was, Stan. I felt like my talents, like, and it was. Here's the thing. We had some good guys that was a year under me, and I started to feel slighted. Mike and Sam was my guys, but Flaherty loved them guys more than he loved me and Reggie and Dolph. And I don't know if it's because he felt like he had 2 years with them and we were seniors, but yeah. So I was out there like, no, I'm gonna get mine regardless.
Right.
Mike and Sam, yeah, that's all good. But if I'm the starting five, y'all gonna come to me with this ball.
Right.
And I would tell them that before we went out there. I'll be like, look, y'all gonna run that ball through the middle. You know, y'all gonna,
and they did, and they listened too. Kenny had this real mean persona.
Yeah.
That commanded respect.
Mm-hmm.
And then he was big and strong, so it all really went together.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Coach Hill commanded, man, hey, outside of my old man, Coach Hill could get me to do whatever.
So
hey.
I think to that point, Frank McDaniel has just posted, you know, that Coach Hill's players will run through a wall for him. Let me share this with you real quick, Coach. Ivan Patterson, rest in heaven.
Yes.
Ivan Patterson, a couple days before he passed away, Ivan had started to come and hang around me because he'd always looked up to me as a big brother. You know, so he started to spend some time with me. We were having some conversations about some things. And he was just sitting there saying, you know what, Stan, I really appreciate, you know, everything that you've done for me throughout the years, the conversations, the talks that we've had. He said, because, you know, the two of the most influential people that have been in my life are you, because you've always been like a big brother to me, and Coach Hill. He said it's all.
Really?
Yes, absolutely. Ivan Patterson.
Wow.
Yes. Ivan Patterson said this to me about 3-4 days before he passed. Yeah.
Man, that just blows me away, man.
Yeah.
You know.
So you never know
the
with people.
Yeah, exactly. Let me say this to you fellas, both of you guys in the audience. You know, you don't know the impact that you have on your players when you're coaching them, because you it's hard to just zero in on one of them when you got a whole team full that you have to manage. And, you know, it's really, and I'll say this on this forum, you know, it's really amazing because I think for the most part, my players loved me back when I coached at Thornridge. I think that on my stint now as the head coach at Thornridge, I don't think they love me now. And I don't, they think I'm old, they call me old school.
Okay.
And I don't think they can relate to me. And I have a hard time relating to them.
Okay.
And it's something that I'm going to have to improve on if I'm going to stick around because, you know, I'm not ready to go yet. You know, I keep myself in shape. You know, I stay in the weight room 3-4 times a week. So I want to stick around, but I'm going to have to do some serious altering of my coaching style because I'm not sure if my players buy in like Kenny and those guys used to buy in back in the day.
But that's what makes you great, man. I don't know if I want to see you water down your style, man.
Thanks, Kenny.
What makes you great, though?
Well, thanks, Kenny.
The ability you have to push guys and not be soft on them, you know, especially with these young men today.
Kenny, they ain't trying to hear that, though. Yeah. They're not trying to hear that, Kenny. Kenny, the way I coached you and that greatness came out in you, I can't coach kids like that now. They're not trying to hear that. You can't do it. The parents won't allow it. The administration won't allow it.
Yeah.
Okay.
You just can't. It's a different. I think was it Mike Krzyzewski, Duke's coach, said that he can't coach kids now the way he used to back in the day.
Okay.
They don't receive it the same. It's a different era. Everything has changed. See, and it makes it hard on a guy like me because it's the only way I know how to do it.
I know.
You know, I think it's interesting, and I think it's good. First off, that you have that level of awareness to say, hey, you know what?
Yeah.
There's a disconnect somewhere, and how can I take ownership of whatever part you play in that to be able to manage your coaching style? I've been fortunate enough to spend time with a number of high-level coaches. I've been around Coach Self, Coach Cal, Brad Stevens, a lot of different high-level coaches. And what I'm hearing is this is not just you. It's trying to understand today's players, trying to be able to relate to them.
Yeah.
You want to be empathetic. You don't want to get too close and too personal where they view you as their equal. There's still a level of respect. And boundaries need to be maintained. And you're not the only coach that's out there dealing with these challenges. But I appreciate and I can understand and respect the level of self-awareness that you have to say, wow, you know what? I do want to continue coaching. And in order for me to do so, I need to look at what I can manage on my end to make sure that I'm able to put myself in the best position.
Can I say this, Stan?
Yep, go ahead.
This is deep. This is profound. But I'm going to say this, you know, and you know, for anybody that's listening, you know, Senator Napoleon Harris and I are really close. Okay. He played for me at Thornton, and he's now the state senator in this area, and he's doing a phenomenal job. Okay. So proud that I had the opportunity to coach that young man. But he and I have talked about our state run. And I will go to my grave, and I'm sure he will too. We feel like we were better than Peoria Manual during that time.
Mm-hmm.
The thing that Peoria Manual had that we did not have, they had a cohesive chemistry that we didn't have. And that cohesive chemistry was enough to push them past us in those high-profile games.
Yeah.
If I could go back and do it again, Stan and Kenny and the rest of the audience, I think I would have been doing more team bonding, team building type of things.
Yeah, great point.
You know, going out for pizza and going bowling. You know, taking them to the show. Doing things away from the floor to create closeness.
Okay.
Yeah, that might have cost me 3 state championships because I still think we were better than they were.
Well, you know, that's good that you're able to reflect on that, because that only can help catapult you into, you know, your next evolution of coaching. Understand that if you're in that situation again, you know, these are some things that you can build upon.
Yeah.
So
I
do have a couple of questions. I want to be mindful and respectful of your time, Coach and Ken.
Okay.
I do have a couple of things I do want to get to. One of the things that I admire about you, and a lot of other people admire about you, is the respect that you have for the game, Coach. Let me ask you, have you ever, when you coached a player, now we understand that sometimes there's a game within the game, whether it's a certain matchup or maybe scouts are coming to see a particular player. Have you ever allowed yourself to let a player shine or coach a player up to excel in one of those aspects, the game within the game, whether it was a particular matchup, let's say you have two named players that are going at it, or maybe some scouts are there to see a particular player, and you say, you know what, tonight I'm going to run a few more plays, a few more sets for this player. Has it always been about the team?
Absolutely. That's a good question, Stan. Yeah, it depends on you know, the game, who we're playing.
Okay.
If there's a scout in the stands to see the kid, it depends.
Okay.
You know, but you can allow a kid to get off and shine within a team concept. Sure, you can do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And let me ask you, was there ever a matchup when you were playing, you say, oh man, you know what, I don't care what's going on, I don't care what Flaherty's calling, I'm going to get my money tonight because I'm not going to let this player across from me, XYZ player, get the best of me. Who's that player? Have you ever been in that situation, and who has been that player?
That's a good question.
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, me?
Yeah, Ken, has there ever been a player who said, man, I don't care what play I'm getting mine?
Yeah, hey, we was playing, Coach Hill, he might remember this. I think he might have been playing at Thornton in a sophomore game. Man, and I'm talking about, hey, Stan, I was just catching and just drop stepping. And Coach Hill just kept saying, you know what, just dump it down in the big Ken. Just go ahead. And I'm talking about, like, he said, Ken, until you tell me you tired, we gonna keep coming to you. Hey, so yeah, he's done that before. Like now in Flaherty's case, let me see. I had a couple of games where I would go against Ron Cooper or Wilbon Perry, and we would have talked during the week because I knew them from the summers.
Right.
And I'd be like, well, I don't care what Flaherty talking about. I gotta get mine tonight. Like we played trail. You can look up the box scores. If we played trail, I was gonna give me 20. If we played Bloom trail, I was gonna give me 20. Played Blooms. If we was playing against guys that I knew, I was not gonna go with the team concept. I was gonna, talk to my point guard and be like, man, run that through me right quick, man, tonight. Let me get off. Because Flaherty was a strict, we're gonna run this around here and maybe you'll get it, so. But Coach Hill would let me cook. Now, Coach Hill, when I was a sophomore, Coach Hill would let me cook. He'd come to me.
Okay.
See, Stan, my coaching style of philosophy, I like to throw the ball inside.
Okay.
When you got a horse down low like Kenny, that makes that philosophy easy. See, when you got somebody, you can throw it down low too. Let's get nobody stop him. See, I would have loved to have seen Kenny's growth as a player if I would have been his coach on the varsity. And I'm not saying that I'm better than Coach Flaherty. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that Kenny and I had such there was a level of trust and respect between he and I where it allowed his talent to blossom.
Yeah.
And it would have been great to see, because I really thought he was an all-state type player, see. And it would have been great to see what would have happened. That's all I'm saying.
So, Coach, you've seen a lot of basketball through the years. Give me if you got to play one high school game and you can only take players that you've coached. You've got one high school game. Give me 5 players that you've coached that you want to take the battle with you for one high school game.
Ooh.
And I know it's like picking your favorite. It's like picking your favorite grandchild.
Yeah, that's tough.
But you got 5.
Only got 5?
Yeah, and it's positionless basketball. I'm gonna give you 90s rules, and it's positionless basketball. So I'll give you 5.
What you said what? You said what?
Hey, Stan, you can't give them positionless basketball. Coach don't come from that. You got to give them a 5, a 4, a 3, or 2.
Okay, well, you know what? However you want, it can either be positionless basketball or it can be the best. Just give me 5 players who will take the battle with you.
Okay. I'll tell you what. I got to. Kenny definitely is in there.
Okay.
Kenny Millender. Damn, that's hard. Kenny. I probably have to say probably Chauncey Jones.
Great pick. Yes.
Chauncey was a killer, man. That dude, he was phenomenal. So Kenny, Chauncey. You know, Michael Clark and Sam Mack are in there somewhere.
Yeah. You got room for one more, Coach.
Got one more.
Them dudes. One more. I'd have to say, man, Stan. This question. Can I go like 8 or 9?
You know what? For you, Coach, we'll let you go 8 or 9. We'll let you go.
Okay, yeah, because it's kind of put me. Okay, let me tell you something. Nate Williams, okay, that played for me at Thornton, was a pro. Peanut.
Yeah.
You remember him, Kenny?
Yeah.
Nate Williams. So that's 5. I guess I gotta go. Melvin Eli's got to be in there somewhere.
Okay.
Probably Eric Herring.
Eric Herring.
And Napoleon Harris.
We're gonna wear some guys.
Yeah.
So let me see. So Kenny, Sam, Mike, Chauncey Jones, Nate Williams, Melvin Eli, Napoleon, and did I say? Yeah, I said Nate Williams, and then probably Big Frank McDaniel.
Frank McDaniel. Oh, I'm not sure he's gonna love that one, Big Frank. Okay.
Probably Big Frank. Yeah, Big Frank was. Hey man, Frank. Hey man, that left hand man needed to be registered. Frank was a monster, man. Yeah.
He's been on the show before.
Oh yeah. So that's 8. So let me have 2 more. Gotta just get 2 more. You gotta give me 10.
Go ahead. All right.
Go ahead.
Okay. Did I mention Eric Herring?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you got 2 more, Coach. I know who one of them is gonna be.
I think it's one that you're missing on. I'm waiting for it here. It's probably one of the most underrated players in play for Thornton.
No, he got to go T.O. You got to go Townsend.
Oh, look, hey, listen. See, Townsend, hey, look. See, I didn't even think about Townsend because I got to go Townsend. See, I'm thinking Townsend's up on the varsity because Flaherty took Townsend from me. Let me tell you something.
Yeah.
I had one disagreement with Mike Flaherty in the 5 years I coached with him. And that was we were in the locker room after we had beaten somebody. And I had one more game to win the conference. And Flaherty came to me and said, before the varsity came out, he said, Rock, I'm taking Townsend. I said, what? I said, all right, man, we were nose to nose. I mean, man, we were nose to nose. Oh, yeah, because, I mean, I was a young coach trying to get my feet wet and grow, get me a varsity job. And I'm like, Coach, let me at least keep him until we win the conference, man. How you going to take him before we win the conference? To show you how big Flaherty was, he let me take Townsend the next game. We won it. We won the conference, and then he took him up. So, yeah, I got to put Townsend in there. I wasn't even thinking about Townsend. I'm thinking Townsend was with Flaherty.
Well, you know what? If you
after that,
well, if you don't have one off the top of your head, that's a good 9 to start with. So we'll rock with that 9. We'll rock.
Yeah, okay, cool. Okay.
All right. So I appreciate everybody's time. I just have one thing. I'm starting a new segment called Rapid Fire. I'm gonna name off some names, and with one word, I want you to describe them. I'm gonna go. When I name off the name, I'm gonna have Coach give me one word to describe them, and then Kenny, I'll let you go. So I'm gonna name off some names, some basketball guys. Chris Dillon.
So you said who? Either me or Kenny?
No, it's gonna be first. I'm gonna name off a basketball name, South Suburban basketball legend, and then I'm gonna let you give one word to describe him, and then Kenny, and then when I name off another name, you, and then Kenny. So we're just gonna go alternate back and forth.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Chris Dillard. One word.
Straight dog.
Dog. Ken.
Killer.
Killer. Okay. Jonell Sloan.
That Kenny or me?
It's on you.
Oh, I don't. Jonell Sloan. I don't remember him.
Rick Cinch. Okay.
John Silky Smooth.
Silky Smooth. Yeah. Okay. Jeff Pelosa.
A horse.
Yeah. Beast.
Hey.
Yep.
Hey, tough as nails.
Yes. Yeah. Michael Clark.
Dog. Killer.
Hey, a Thornridge God. That boy in high school was God.
Yes.
That boy was cold.
He sure was.
Yes, he was. Michael Allen.
Hey.
Rest in heaven.
Hey, all I can say is just phenomenal.
He's a gunner.
Okay.
I saw him drop 50 at St. Joe's, and he was just pulling up from the hash mark.
Oh, man. Okay. Danye Wictor.
Good player.
That's my nephew, man. Good dude. Gone too soon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Last but not least, Sam Mack.
A pro.
Hey, my youngin. I like to call Sam and Mike them my youngins. He was tough. Sam, I had both of them cats, Mike and Sam, on the wing with me my senior year.
Ooh.
Oh, man.
No, Kenny. Man. Who started the guard for y'all? Was it AD?
Hey, Coach, that's where we came up short. We took Sean Holly from you and brought him up.
Yeah.
And we had Marks and Phil and Papa. We were short at guard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we were short.
Yeah.
We'd have had a guard, we might could have went downstate.
Yeah. Y'all, that was a hell of a Thornridge team right there, man. Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
we had nothing at guard, though. We were short.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the thing is, the basketball stories, basketball never stops. You know, no matter what age, whether, either you're playing, you're coaching, or you're sharing the story, basketball never stops. We could spend, another hour and some change, talking more basketball. But I want to be mindful and respectful of everyone's time. Coach Hill, I know we've been working to connect. I'm so glad you were able to come on the show, share some of that basketball history with people, share some basketball, just your presence in general, and just being open to the feedback that, some of the questions and some of the things that people have been asking. Big Ken, always a pleasure, bringing that history, that knowledge, and also that fanfare to the program. I appreciate both you guys. Any closing remarks before we wrap it up?
Yes, Dan, I just want to say two things. Number one, I want to say thank you very much for having me on. I'm honored to have been on your show. And Kenny, I want to just say God bless you, man. And, you just meant so much to me as a player. And you're one of the greatest players I've ever coached, and just a wonderful young man. And thank you for being like that. And God bless you and your family, man.
Yes.
Hey, Coach, man, you will always be my guy, man, my favorite, man. I told you, my two favorite coaches end up coaching with each other. Troy Jackson, my junior high coach, I won 2 state titles with him, and Coach Hill. Those are 2 favorite coaches in the world, man. And I'm gonna always ride for Coach Hill, man. I wouldn't stand. I still wouldn't be hooping and trying to get buckets if I would have learned how to be tough from Coach Hill, man. That's one thing I learned. He taught me how to be tough. So I appreciate everything, man. Everything you ever done for me, Coach, man. I love you, man.
I love you too, but much respect. And thank you very much, Stan. Thanks for having me on, man.
You know what? I think that's no better way to end our segment. Thank you to everyone that tuned in, everyone for their comments, their feedbacks, their questions. It was a great conversation. We got some history. We got some context. And this is what we do, Straight No Chaser. We just talk. We have a good time. We make sure that the word is out and we keep it real. So thank you, everybody. Thank you to our guests, Coach Hill, Big Ken. Thank you for checking out another segment of Straight No Chaser. We'll see you soon.
My man. Good night, fellas.
All
Good
right.
night.